was in home office, and therefore the need for internships in 2021 is of course increasing, both from those people who had an internship planned anyhow for 2021, and also for those people that planned an internship previously for 2020, and then were forced to give up on that last year. So therefore, I can definitely encourage everybody to make sure that he or she has enough applications out for internships in particular. When it comes to the young professional market, you do see increasing improvements in the dynamics when it comes to graduates, when it comes to young professionals. And there, I would say the job market is kind of kind of returning to the old normality, so to say. So I think good news, things are definitely improving, and it's not just kind of a feeling, but it's very much supported by numbers.
Yeah, thank you, Benjamin. That was quite informative. Maybe our viewers are taking those points into considerations. With your long experience with recruitment process and jobs, it would be beneficial to know where a person must focus when it comes to application. What do you think are the most important things in job applications?
When it comes to job applications, I would say the very important part is first to understand very well and to spend time in seeking the best job that suits you best. So companies provide very extensive job ads, and those job ads you should definitely go through and analyze and very well understand what the company asks for. Given for us as a technology company, this part of matching people is really important. And for us at Hyrd, we are in the unique position that we, since our members have profiles at Hyrd, we can match people incredibly well to the desired jobs. And I think that is a really, really important part, given understanding what the company requires from you is the first very important step in the hiring process. Given if you guys don't match, that is nothing to be ashamed of or something like that, but it's just like a fact. If they ask for key qualifications you don't have, well, then you find a perfect job somewhere else. It is probably not that one, and therefore it is, I think, first of all, incredibly important to have a close look at what companies desire, and then go through all the job ads that potentially match very well what you have as key qualifications, and then as a next step, prepare documents that are very well aligned with what the company asks for. So that is it's maybe a more banking or consulting say, but it's very much you pitch yourself to a company, and therefore the pitch must be really good. And first step is, and probably the most important step is, to find those job ads that suit you well, those companies that share the same values as you do, and then also where you have the very largest overlay of desired qualifications and the qualifications you bring to the company.
Okay.
Thank you. I mean, that makes it pretty clear about the visibility of applications, but sometimes it also happens that one applies and the whole process takes months to complete, and sometimes the applicants do not get any response back. So like you said, they should go for the right ads, check for the requirements that would increase visibility. But apart from that, can you provide us some tips and tricks to have an increased chance of receiving response from a company?
Absolutely, and I think it's one of the most frustrating things of applying for a job. And well, here I basically have two messages. So first of all, the first message is, well, reality is some companies will not reply, and some companies, yeah, it's kind of hopeless. They they receive applications and they will never reply. It's not fair, but it's reality, unfortunately. What you can do to improve your chances for a reply is, as we see very much from our experience when we see how application processes go, make it easy for the reader, for those people who receive your documents. For them, they have a very narrow window into you. So what they get from you is your CV and probably a cover letter. So therefore, make it easy for the reader, for the hiring manager, for the recruiting person to understand why you are the right person. Make it very easy for them to understand why they should continue. So when they go through the CV, when they go through the cover letter, they need to understand why you are the best suitable person for this job, why they should consider spending more time in discovering why you are the best candidate. So that brings us kind of back to what we discussed previously. So when you have a job ad, go through the job ad in detail and check where are the similarities. So to include a bit of advertising for Hyrd, so that is actually what we do also in our cover letter assistant, where we go through the profile details of your membership profile and compare this with what we have in the job ad. So line out these similarities. If you are applying for a job in, let's say, business management or business development, line out that you have lots of experience in business development from previous internship, for example. That is something that is incredibly important for the hiring manager in that situation. So given he or she needs all the information possible to find out why you are the perfect candidate. And then also, when it comes to the design and to the layout of your documents, it's also incredibly important that you provide documents that are very well designed, that look very professional. Given if you apply for something and then well, you open the document and that is obviously the first impression you get of that particular person. And I'm not saying whether this is fair or unfair or whether there's any bias or so, but it's just the thing. It's something you can't change. You open the document or you open the cover letter, and then the first impression you get is incredibly important for the overall process, and therefore providing the hiring manager with a very clean, with a very structured set of documents is in our experience very, very important to improve your chances to get a very constructive feedback. If the hiring manager gets the impression the candidate spent a lot of time in coming up with very professional documents and providing very good explanations why he or she is the best candidate, that of course triggers with most hiring managers a sense of, okay, well, if he or she made such an effort, then yeah, I should reply soon. Of course, this is no guarantee for swift reply. However, it is well, our recommendation to at least increase your chances.
Rightly said. Yeah, that helps a lot. And we have a lot of questions coming in from our viewers. So over to Nishit. Can you go ahead with one of them?
Yeah, we have a comment from Binit Bamborilia. And his question is, does 2021 come up with more opportunity, or it will be similar to past 2 years where there were really less hirings?
I can definitely say in 2021 there are more opportunities than there were in 2020, and I'm not so sure about 2019, but I think with the increasing dynamics, with economic growth, with the increased certainty on the employer side, it is probably also the case that 2021 is better than 2019. Where in relative terms, given so many companies now have to hire those people they didn't hire last year.
Okay, thank you for that information. And there is one more question coming up with from the online live question from Bansuri. And the question is, approximately how much time does it take for hire to help a candidate get his or her job who has already completed masters in Germany?
Well, it's difficult to put an amount on that or number. I think it depends very much on what you have already done in terms of research. And as I said before, it's sometimes a rather weird thing that you spend so many hours studying, so many hours preparing exams, so many hours preparing and working on your master's or bachelor thesis. Nevertheless, one tends to spend a very little time on researching what kind of area, what kind of business area does fit to me very well, and that kind of research takes time, and there we can provide you, thankfully, with the tools to have a very structured analysis and have a very and go through a very structured analysis, and then also to, after you have done your analysis, to you can upload your documents. You can create from those documents very professional set of application documents, and that set of application documents can then directly be sent through Hyrd to your future employer. And through these very professional set of documents, you definitely have a higher chance of receiving a very receiving a good response, receiving if you are, of course, a potential candidate or considered a potential candidate by the company, receiving an invite for an interview then.
Yeah, okay. And going back to that question that you mentioned about the structure of your application documents and your CV and cover letter and everything, and when you make it in a structured way and you send out the application and you get selected for an interview, so what tips would you suggest to prepare for an interview for a student job, or maybe a job, full-time job, or job seeker? Yeah.
Well, I'm very happy to share some ideas. So if I were to share all ideas I had in mind, you guys should probably get sleeping bags. So first of all, I think a very good application starts with a very good set of documents. Given an application manager or a hiring manager uses this set of documents as a basis for his or her preparation for your interview. So therefore, I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but it always goes back to this set of documents that must be very very flawless. Therefore, in your documents, you can provide already some kind of tendency, some kind of direction for on how the interview goes. So you can point out the areas where you have been already able to collect some experience. That is then, of course, something a hiring manager will ask you about. Therefore, let's say you mentioned in your application that you are a professional in, let's say, one or two coding or you have coding skills in two different areas. You should definitely be totally on spot when it comes to that. If this coding is, if coding is relevant for this job. Let's say you have an internship in business development for just for the sake of example. Definitely talk about what you did in this internship. And if this is considered as very relevant by the company, this is one of the things they would like to talk about. So generally think about an interview less as a way to frighten people, as a way to scare people because of the power discrepancy also. It's very much an opportunity for your future employer to learn about you, to find out why you are a fitting candidate, or potentially why you're maybe not a fitting candidate. But the desire of somebody that invites you to an interview is not to not to find the negatives, but they want to find obviously the positives. They want to find the reasons why they want to hire you, and that is I think the very starting point. And then I would like to talk about five areas that you should prepare for a successful interview. And I unfortunately can't go into details for as we have only a limited amount of time, but I'd like to quickly talk about those 5 areas. That would be, first of all, prepare your strengths and weaknesses. So normally in an interview, or very often in an interview, you're asked, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses? And talking about your strengths normally is not that difficult, but talking about one's weaknesses is, I would say, really challenging. Therefore, I would definitely recommend you to prepare this with friends, prepare this with your family, and then come up with reasons or with some explanations and some measures you took to cure those weaknesses. And obviously, you shouldn't pick weaknesses that are incredibly important for this job. So let's say you are applying for a sales job, and then you are like, yeah, I'm a terribly shy person, and I really don't know what to do about this. Yeah, probably not a good pitch then. So therefore, I always found that talking about one's weaknesses is indeed a challenge. Second is your business and practical experiences. So let's say you collected some experience in previous internships, in working student positions, or maybe prior to your master's, after your bachelor's degree, you worked for a few years in a company. That is incredibly important for the hiring manager to understand how you work, given that in the end is the most important stuff. Having good grades is important. However, it is much more important actually to understand how a person works, and very good grades of course correlate with performance. However, there's of course not a one correlation there. So therefore, talking about your previous internships, your previous professional experiences is incredibly important, and is very often also it can be very decisive in the decision then, given one can always argue, if somebody applies for let's say a job in controlling, has done 2 internships in controlling previously, however can hardly talk about his or her experience in this internship, you really wonder why he or she then applies for an internship in controlling again, if the only thing you might be able to reference is that you worked on some documents and put some numbers into a computer. So that is then of course really difficult to argue why such a person should be the most motivated person in terms of a controlling job. Then obviously university plays an important role. in the overall hiring process and also in the interview. So you may be asked what are your favorite courses. You may be asked about your thesis, and there is also the rationale. So let's say you're about to finalize your master thesis when you apply for a job, and then the hiring manager or decision manager will also ask, okay, well, you're working on a specific topic for 3 months now. What are the details you can provide? What are the conclusions you have drawn? And that is, of course, also something that it plays a significant role to understand where you're coming from, how you work, how you approach problems, how you approach challenges. And then the two remaining things I would like to talk about is first brain teasers. So that is something many interviewers may ask. I personally don't like brain teasers a lot, so I was always worried when I ask brain teasers that I forget about the answer myself and embarrass myself there. So therefore, I was quite reluctant using brain teasers. But many people think it's a great idea. I don't know why, but it is something you can prepare in many courses, either online or in books. What I want to point out here is, however, if you have or if you know exactly the brain teaser they ask you, be honest about this, because coming up with an answer too quickly without thinking about it is probably a good way that the interviewer may feel fooled, and therefore, be honest about this. This is generally something one should be very cautious about. Honesty and precision is very important in an interview. So don't of course don't undersell yourself, but at the same time don't open any flanks where that it could be exploited if you let's say be too aggressive about something. And the last thing I would like to mention is your knowledge about the company. And therefore, I would always recommend in preparation for an interview, go through the company's website, Google News about the company, try to find out what is currently going on inside of the company. Because what is currently a big thing in the PR department is most likely also a big thing for people who work at that company, given if a company tries to position itself to the outside world in a particular light, that is then of course something that goes very deep into the company's DNA, and where people will talk a lot about. And well, it's obviously the very same if you're, let's say, a big football fan or so. You like to talk about stuff that goes on in football. If you get lots of, let's say, reports about sustainability of a company or of your company on your desk, it is naturally something you would want to talk about, and therefore, as an interviewee, you should definitely prepare to answer questions around particular topics at a company. Sorry for talking for so long, but I think this is a very comprehensive issue there.
No problem. That was indeed very helpful for us and the viewers. So based on that, there's another question from one of our viewers, Megha H. She wanted to know how good is the market for finance and management roles, and especially for someone who has no prior work experience and not fluent in Deutsch.
That's a very, very important topic there. So let's separate those two things. So first, language, and then finance in general. When it comes to language skills, it depends very much on the company you work at. At the those, let's say, at very large companies in international departments, you can you might be able to to work without very good German skills. So that is possible. However, one should be very mindful of that. In particular, for startups, or for most startups, language doesn't necessarily play such a big role. However, one should of course be mindful that that language skills can be very important there. So for many companies here in Germany, they require B2 or C1 as language skill level. So just to be able to communicate with clients and to communicate internally. So even very large companies have, of course, departments that are where people don't speak English too well, and therefore there's of course a bit of a finding process there, and one should be mindful of that. As I said, for many startups, I get feedbacks that language skills are secondary compared to the skills that are actually relevant for the job. So having sorted that out, so to say, when it comes to finance, it's finance is a very broad field, obviously, and you do have many people with like the Mint background, so in the informatics, in the engineering field of things, and in the math area, that apply for jobs in finance, and that can work incredibly well. It depends very much on the area you want to work in, whether any previous experience is required. But I would say, again, have a close look at what is written in the job ad. So if they say, well, what is needed from a candidate is studying, let's say, business administration, informatics, and let's say engineering, and also at least one internship in banking. That is maybe then not the perfect job for you. However, there are certainly other jobs where they don't require previous experience in the banking industry, and there you can, in your CV, then already point out what you learned in other areas and why this is relevant for this particular job. And being from the banking industry myself, and knowing, I would say, a bit about it, it's of course not rocket science, right? It's you can learn very well on the job. If you are a smart person, and I trust those people who listen are smart persons indeed. So therefore, there's definitely the chance. However, you should be mindful when going through the job offers, which one suits you best.
Thank you. And yeah, that was quite helpful. I hope the viewer who asked the question is clear now on this. And moving to the next person, it's from Mr. Abhishek Acharya. He says he's on the verge of finishing his PhD and wants to know, does Hyrd also helps people who are on the verge of finishing their PhD or postdoctoral research?
Absolutely. So you find opportunities at Hyrd. So beginning with your first internship, and then also ranging into the young professionals areas. So those jobs you then get after finishing your PhD, after a few years experience or working experience, after your master's degree. And yeah, therefore, I think there are plenty of opportunities there.
Thank you. So quickly to the next question. It's from Mr. Fook, and he says he has read a lot of job advertisements which aligned with his desire, but has some skill sets which he currently does not have. So his question is, should he apply to this position, or should he wait and work on the skill set and then apply? What would be the best choice?
It's a bit hard to answer this, not knowing the particular circumstances. However, what I can definitely say is find out by trying. So if you if they require, let's say, excellent Python skills, however you are at great Python skills, there may be just a difference in understanding. Maybe your understanding of skills there is different to theirs, and therefore I would definitely say if there is already some kind of overlap, try it. Send applications out. Worst that can happen is you get no feedback. Maybe you get negative feedback. Maybe you get decent feedback. And on negative feedback you can work on decent feedback you can work on or potentially grab an opportunity there. And that is, I think something one should be mindful of, that well, many job advertisements are written in a very vague manner and very vague way, and then therefore there is no real right or wrong, but there is, of course, some kind of a wiggle room there. And therefore, also many of my answers are unfortunately not like, okay, you have to tick these 3 boxes and then we can guarantee everything. But it's like very much a very diverse, very field where there is not a lot of homogeneous stuff happening, but one has to try things out.
Yeah, right. I agree, because I think that also gives you one clarity, like what you had been missing and what you need to work on.
Exactly, and then I think many companies then reply in a way that, well, yeah, we appreciate very much your interest in our company. However, well, we require 2 internships in this particular field. You have already done 1. After you have done the next one, please feel free to apply again at our firm, and we reconsider your application. And that is also something I would like to say here. So of course, a negative feedback is always hurts, and it's never great to get a negative feedback like, no, you don't fit to our job. And what I say now is, of course, not people in such a situation may not find that incredibly helpful, but it's indeed the case. Try stuff out and look around and seek opportunities. Given rejection is not great, and everyone hates it. However, it is unfortunately necessary that you fail several times. However, you will succeed in trying new and trying again and improving. And that is, I can say from my own experience that I've failed in many ways. However, for myself, I drew some conclusions, and then in the end, I made some decisions that brought me here talking to you, which I enjoy very much. And therefore, I think in the end, there were many right decisions. However, of course, with many frustrations in between and many frustrating situations. And therefore, I can only encourage you to go out, to try stuff out, to get yourself some visibility in what's going on, and well, don't don't miss any chances, or don't miss a chance because you're afraid of rejection. That is I think not the right way to do, and therefore some rejections one has to suffer, but in the end you will succeed.
Thank you. Over to Nishit. Nishit, do you have any more questions from the viewers?
Yes, there is one more question coming from the Facebook Live. It's from Abhishek Makam, and his question is, should the domain of current internship be considered for full-time job, or how easy it is to change the domain while searching for full-time job?
Could you clarify domain? So do you mean field of studying or the area you work in?
Either he's pointing out about the field of working, actually, like the testing field or the developing field, like that, maybe.
I think nowadays many job profiles are quite fluid, so to say. So if a company seeks somebody that fits in a particular situation 100%, they will choose, of course, somebody that fits 100%. However, many companies also follow an approach that where you have the ideal candidate that you define internally. However, this ideal candidate is not really available, and then you have an opportunity to develop a very capable person into exactly the person you want him or her to be, and therefore I would not say at all that you are tied to a particular domain at all, but you have the chance to develop yourself, and a very good employer will always make use of the opportunity to trigger the best in you and to develop you into the person that fits as a job best. And in particular now with so many specifications and so many different requirements you have for candidate, it's rarely the case that you find exactly the person that matches this situation and this position 100%, but it's very much about looking at a person, finding out his or her capabilities, and then developing the right person to the right position and to the right job profile.
Yeah, as you mentioned earlier, that you should try on. So maybe everyone who is listening to us or watching us, maybe you are open to everything. So please try out all the key points which were mentioned, and best of luck for all the applications. And there is one more live question, which is from Vikas Singh Dheeraj. Does doing thesis at company instead of university impact one's profile while job application?
I would say it often helps if you already collect some experience when writing your thesis with a company, given you then have the opportunity to, in particular in the engineering field, to work very closely with experienced people. I do know that many companies enjoy the cooperation with universities, and well, not being an engineer myself, however, my family does have a lot of engineers. I know that this is very much appreciated by many firms, indeed, that you collect lots of experience in the process of writing the thesis.
And that was quite a important point, that you should have some experience before completing your master thesis, so that when you are applying for the full-time job, it becomes easy, that the employer also knows that, okay, you have experience in this field. One more question on our Facebook Live from Bansari Vadgama. On an average, what net income should a graduate expect in Hessen? Bavaria and NRW in the field of IT? So yeah, it is a direct, like a very direct question, but yeah.
Well, to be frank, I can only refer to statistics there, and there are indeed many many articles concerned around this, and yeah, maybe maybe you Google a bit, so it may be different, of course, with respect to the size of the company. It may be different from the maybe different from the the need in terms of how desperately does the company need a developer. I would say in general, the market for IT people, so being developers, web designers, IT project managers, or IT consultants is incredibly strong, and there you should definitely also check out many opportunities, and there, going back a bit to the last thing we discussed, there again you also have to try a bit how you fit into a certain role. Let's say you are very good in JavaScript. However, the company does not use JavaScript. That doesn't mean you're not capable filling that position. However, it's for them potentially, if they need JavaScript capacities very quickly, for them better to hire a different person. And therefore, in particular in the field of IT, there's a lot of intransparency there, and therefore try out many opportunities, and then you also have the chance to compare salaries very well. Given I personally look at those statistics. However, if they provide a range between 40,000 and 60,000, well, that is it's not incredibly useful, I believe, given you may be at 40, you may be at 60. Okay, well, that doesn't say too much. Yes, of course, in Germany also a bit of a difference between locations. So since Bavaria was mentioned, since Hesse was mentioned, salaries over here in Frankfurt and in Bavaria and Munich are, of course, in many so you have those Mittelstand company that are very professional, very much specialized in certain areas. So you have world market leaders in a very tiny field that are, however, then incredibly specialized in that tiny field. And those companies offer very attractive opportunities, and those opportunities are very often outside the large cities, given they may be at a small village somewhere. However, the job opportunities there are also quite attractive, and that is something one should keep in mind, that there's of course a salary difference between, let's say, a large employer somewhere in Munich compared to a Mittelstand company somewhere in rural Bavaria or rural Hesse. So therefore, yeah, one should look at this, and I think salary is very important. However, in particular, as a junior developer, for example, one should also be mindful of the opportunities to grow in a company. So just working at a company that pays you a higher salary, however, the working environment is not very satisfying and the development opportunities for you are not that great, may also in the long run be not very satisfactory. So therefore, one should, I think, keep in mind that it's more than just salary.
Okay. There is one more related question from about salary is coming from our Facebook live. It is from Anil A. He said, how should be our approach when we are asked about salary expectations before and after job interview? HRs commonly ask this question before scheduling the interview.
Okay, this is a very tough question indeed, and I think it's fair to say that one should be one should answer not very directly here, but I think a very good way to answer is I do expect a competitive salary. In particular, in the first rounds of discussion, that is, it's a question that you can only answer in the wrong way, unfortunately. So therefore, I believe it's best to be a bit vague here, to say, okay, I do expect a competitive salary, and then well, to have a bit of leverage in those discussions, it's of course very useful to have not just one, but 2 or 3 live offers at the same time, that you can negotiate a bit and compare different set of offers. And as I said, it's I believe not only salary that is very important. So let's say you are offered by a company a few thousand euros per year more. However, in that particular company, you don't have growth opportunities. You don't have opportunities to develop yourself in a potentially in a senior position or so. However, at the other company, you have a very good working environment, very good working experience, very supportive superiors. All that can also make a large difference. So therefore, I think, yes, as I said, salary is very important. However, in the long you should also consider the long run. So if you have the chance to wipe out a disadvantage over the next years, maybe it's an investment worth making.
Yeah. Thank you for highlighting this one crucial point with the salary question. And coming back to our job applications and Hyrd, it is of course a big help to students if they can find a starting point for this lengthy and oftentimes exhausting process of job search. In the beginning, you mentioned about Hyrd. So the question is, what is Hyrd's focus on? In extending students' application or assisting in helping students to build their application documents?
Well, it's actually kind of both. So our approach is to see this entire endeavor of getting a job not as an event, but it's a process in our understanding. So it is not just like, okay, I need a job now, I look now at a job board and then I apply randomly. But it's very much a continuous process where you create your profile, where you create a CV at, for example, Hyrd. So where you can then put all the stuff that is necessary for the company in your profile, that you can develop your profile, that you can check out what is currently lagging in my profile or in my CV. So what do I need to improve in the medium to short term? However, what do I need to improve and work on in the long term? And therefore, our approach is very much being a partner of students and young professionals in this period where there is very little guidance from anybody, but being in a very structured process from entering the job search at Hyrd, entering the comparison of different jobs and comparing different fields, and then going through a very structured application process where, when I say a structured application process, we talked about the structure of a good CV, the structure of a good cover letter, where we, of course, are very happy to help with, in particular, tools we provide on our platform. Given very good CV, very good cover letter is the best preparation for a good interview. And then we are we are therefore then with you in the entire process. You have the benefit of managing all your applications through Hyrd, that you don't miss any application you have already sent. So well, previously it was like kind of lots of work to compare or to have everything in Excel files, and then it was very difficult to keep track of what's going on, and therefore we really aim for a structured process where we can make the best out of every opportunity and every candidate.
Well, that's nice that you said about this is a process. Students should not like expect the results just in hours. So all who are watching us, as Benjamin mentioned, it is a process. So please go through the process. And with the process you mentioned, do you also help in preparing students for the interview as well?
Well, what you do is to in these kind of formats in webinars to take questions, to talk about interview preparation. Well, unfortunately, we can't talk to everybody individually. That is well, in terms of resources for us, unfortunately not possible. But we think what is of course great is to go through a structured process, to provide input, to highlight what to improve, to highlight what hiring manager will think about your application. So with the tools we provide, I think we can get you lots of information that we can extract from your documents and point into the right direction to allow you for a very professional preparation of everything that is related to your application.
Thank you so much with elaborating this process. So, Shumai, do you have further questions?
Yeah, of course. I would like to dig deep into the finance situation now. Coming to the student's point of view, the finance is always a big problem. And from that point, I would like to add this question: that is Hyrd free of cost to students, or they need to pay a basic fee?
A very good question, and well, our business model is different from let's say job portals. So for students, Hyrd is generally free. So where we make money from is when you could compare us with Google, so that we charge companies for particular listings, so that we show everything. However, some companies and some jobs are highlighted in a particular way, so that we can make sure that those jobs are found, and that's the way we make money. So we don't charge students for using Hyrd. However, there is what we call the premium account, or the Hyrd premium account, and the big difference here is that we talked about technical tools before. However, the premium account does require a bit of, or quite a lot of, manual work from the Hyrd team, and therefore, we thought it is fair if there is manual labor involved in such a process, or in the for example in the checking of application documents. We need to cover a bit of the cost we have there, and therefore we also offer the Hyrd premium account, where you get some personal and very individualized feedback on your application documents.
And if I may, then could you tell us how much this cost for the premium account of yours?
Yeah, currently we charge 39 euros for the premium account, and this is a one-off price then for in particular the personal check of the application documents.
I mean, yeah, 40 euros is not a lot if one wants to invest in a good application. Yeah, true. Thank you. And you mentioned about Hyrd being different from other job portals like LinkedIn, Stepstone, Monster, and you mentioned about these tools. How exactly is this unique from all these job portals?
So what job portals do is they have like job listings, so they list all the jobs where company pay them to be listed.
Mm-hmm.
At Hyrd, we have a different approach. So where we have all jobs we can find, we put them on our platform, no matter whether a company pays us or not. Generally, they are listed. As I said before, so we make money from particular listings, same as Google. So when you type something into Google, you always find everything. However, some particular websites are highlighted. What's also different is that at job portals, you normally don't have any kind of long-term relationship to the job portal, but you find a job at a particular job portal, another job at a different one, and another one at another job portal, and you jump from one portal to the other. So what we do is we offer you the opportunity to create a profile at Hyrd. Then from this profile, where you have all your application documents, you can derive and create very professional set of application documents. And with those application documents, with the Hyrd technology, you can immediately apply to all the jobs you find on Hyrd, so that you have Hyrd as your central application management tool, so to say. And we do think that this increases the transparency quite a lot and makes things much easier for you as students, because we believe it's a successful application is not that you are able to fill in forms and that you go through the rather complex and annoying application processes at different websites, but it's much more important to get the documents right, to think about, why do I really want to work for this company, and to spend more time on preparing your interview, preparing your documents, instead of typing in stuff that doesn't provide any added value at all, but it's just like manual labor that is kind of useless. So that is what we at Hyrd do, shifting the focus away from the manual application towards a much more content-focused application.
That was quite explanatory. Thank you for the information. One question related to this is, well, it's difficult to put, but can an individual only rely on Hyrd and like completely ignore the other portals? Only Hyrd?
I would be very reluctant in saying one can only rely on one thing. I think we are moving towards a situation where we have literally everything. At the moment, at the moment there is not every job that is available not yet on Hyrd, but we are getting there very rapidly. I think what is pretty cool at Hyrd, that we can provide you with the tools that you get a much faster response through the Hyrd process, through the Hyrd platform. So that is I think what is quite remarkable. So we are getting new opportunities on the platform basically every day, many more exciting employers. So so we are getting into a situation where higher ed becomes the unique place to start your career. I think at the moment we have the most jobs of any kind of platform in the Germany, Switzerland, and Austria region, and yeah, over the next month we will get even more attractive jobs on the platform. So it's a pretty exciting thing, and we are really glad to get to offer you these opportunities.
So thank you so much, Benjamin. This was indeed an informative session with you. And I'm certain a lot of our audience must have picked up some really good tips and tricks from you. And hopefully it helps them to successfully land them a preferred job in this difficult situation. Over to you, Nishit.
Yes, there is still so much more to discuss about, but unfortunately, we are arriving at the end of the session now. FISA wholeheartedly thanks the followers who joined our webinar, and we hope it was of help to everyone. We had promised that 3 lucky participants who raised their queries to us would have a chance to win a premium account from Hyrd to help them on their journey of job search. We would be announcing the participants in the coming days. Keep an eye on our page for this update. And Benjamin, we request you to kindly provide a closing remark and your message to the audience from Hyrd, especially.
Perfect. It was great fun. Thanks a lot for the great questions. And yeah, as I said, I hope I answered them in a way that it was useful. Yeah, we are very happy to be your partner when it comes to your career. Really happy to support you. And yeah, when you are in Frankfurt, let me know. Drop by Tech Quartier. So yeah, we can always grab a drink here. And best of luck with your career, guys. And as I said, it's sometimes a bit frustrating. Everyone has experienced this, but in the end, you will succeed. And yeah, I think Hyrd is a very good tool to succeed in the end.
Thank you again, and it was a pleasure for FISA to have you with us and to give us your important time. And yeah, for those who missed out the webinar, we will be uploading the webinar on our YouTube channel as well. And we request you to like our Facebook page, as we are planning lots of events this year and also get-togethers if the rules permit, of course. And FISA thanks you all once again and wishes everyone lots of health. Stay safe and wear a mask, and when it's your turn, get vaccinated.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Benjamin.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.